All right, what's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Lot going on here besides the Trump stuff. We covered that here in the last two videos here, but there's a lot of other stuff going on here in our country and around the world here. Take a look at this. Okay, first up, Finland officially becomes a NATO member here yesterday, doubling the military alliance's border with Russia. Remember, the United States is part of NATO, along with 30 countries, now 31. And remember, NATO has a treaty that says if any country in NATO is attacked, it's a declaration of war against all the countries in NATO. And the United States is part of NATO. Okay. Authorities in Helsinki decided that in the wake of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, the country was no longer safe as it applied it applied on its own to join the alliance, part of NATO, a few months later. Finland shares an 832-mile border with Russia, the longest of any European Union member. This came after Russia threatened Sweden and Finland multiple times. Sweden is in the process of applying for NATO, will probably be accepted here soon. And I mean, this literally backfired on Putin. I mean, he threatened Finland and Sweden, who have been mostly neutral for decades. And what did they do? They realized they didn't want to happen to them what happened to Ukraine, because Ukraine was on its own. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're getting a lot of support from the United States and the European Union and dozens of other countries, but largely they're not protected like if they're part of NATO or the European Union per se. Okay, so Finland and Sweden started getting threats from Putin and Russia. So they're like, well, we don't want to become the next Ukraine or the next Moldova or the next Crimea. Okay, so what did they do? They took these threats from Putin seriously and said, we're going to join NATO. Because if they're part of NATO and they get attacked by Russia, then all 30 countries of NATO have to go to war. Okay, and Putin knows this. Okay, and Putin pretty much sees this as he probably shouldn't attack any country in NATO, or else he's going to be attacked by 30 other countries, including the United States. So Finland now officially part of NATO, and Sweden in the process of this will be accepted probably sometime soon. I'll keep you up to date here on this. However, Russia in the process of making their own alliances with North Korea and China. You can see this headline here: Russia to offer food for North Korean weapons. What a trade, huh? But yeah, you know that the old saying of the enemy of my enemy is your enemy. Well, Russia and North Korea possibly thinking that about the United States, right? Yeah. Yeah, Russia is sending a delegation to North Korea to offer food in exchange for weapons. U.S. National Security spokesman John Kirby has said. Mr. Kirby said any arms deal between North Korea and Russia would violate UN Security Council resolutions. The U.S. has previously accused North Korea of supplying arms to the Russian military already, and the Wagner Group of Russian mercenaries. Mr. Kirby told a news conference the U.S. had new information about the deal, saying, quote, we also understand that Russia is seeking to send a delegation in North Korea and that Russia is offering North Korea food in exchange for munitions. However, mid the war, Russia, seems like they can't even trust their own high-ranking generals and officials. You can see here, this being reported by multiple outlets. Russia is confiscating passports from its own elites, fearing they will defect over its invasion of Ukraine. Yeah. So they're taking their own passports from their own top leaders, fearing that they're going to leave. Yeah, so um, doesn't seem like things are going that well over there. Or else, why would they have to take passports from their own elites? Yeah, Russia taking passports from its officials and the state company execs, per the Financial Times. It's worried that elites may defect as they oppose the war, per this new report. The UK Mod earlier said that Russia was taking passports to stop the flight or defections of officials. This comes as other reports that the Kremlin is already searching for Putin's replacements, according to some intelligence. So maybe everything isn't as it seems. Who knows? But there is at least some reports of this. There's also a report here of Russia persecuting dissenters. What happened here, at least with this story, is children were asked to draw pictures of the war. And so these children went and drew pictures of the war. And of course, this is inside Russia. So, of course, most of them drew pictures of like Russia, winning and doing, good. And, of course, they're Russian, right? And one child drew a picture of Ukraine winning, and it said something like, all hail Ukraine, or something along those lines. I forget the exact quote there. But what happened is the teacher was so disturbed that it basically said, it said something along the lines of like, here's actually exactly what they said. Ukraine war, how a Russian child's drawing sparked a police investigation here. Here's the actual drawing. It shows a Ukraine mother and child, and them holding up a hand saying no to missiles. The picture was drawn by a 12-year-old, and her father, a single parent, had contacted the counselor for advice. He told her that seeing Masha's drawing, her school had called the police. And to the left is a Ukrainian flag with the words "Glory to Ukraine." On the right, the Russian tricolor and the inscriptions "No to War" on there. The police were called over this drawing, right? The police started this investigation, and they told him that he was bringing up his daughter in a bad way in Russia. Charges followed for an anti-war post on social media. They were fined 32,000 rubles, or around $415, for discrediting the Russian armed forces. A criminal case was opened up against him. Anti-war posts formed the basis for discreditation charges. He faces a possible prison sentence, and he's currently under house arrest. His daughter Masha has been sent to a children's home, and he has not been allowed to speak to her on the phone, and no one has seen her since March 1st, despite attempts to get access to the children's home to find out how she is over a children's drawing. Quote, the Russian authorities want everyone to toe the line. No one is allowed to have their own opinion. If you disagree with what someone thinks, then don't read their social media post, but don't put that person under house arrest and their child is in a children's home. Since then, the sentence was handed down to this guy, Alexei Moskalayev, on March 28th. The sentencing was outrageous. 2 years in a prison colony for posting a few anti-war comments on social media, which were investigated only after his daughter Masha made a pro-Ukrainian drawing in class. Wow. Yeah, and then don't forget here that Russia's also taking the passports of their own elites in their own society now so that they can't leave. This is their own like generals and colonels, people in their military. And let me show you what else just happened here. A prominent Russian military blogger was killed in a St. Petersburg cafe blast. And this is in the second largest city in Russia, St. Petersburg, Russia, just so we're not getting things confused here. Yeah, in what appears to be an audacious attack on a high profile pro Kremlin figure named Vladimir Tartarsky when a blast tore through the cafe where he was appearing as a guest on a pro war group. Authorities said they were treating the case as a suspected murder. At least 32 people were injured in it and 10 in serious condition. Yeah, investigators were questioning everyone who was inside the cafe. There's a video of this woman, yeah, who brings in this like statue. I saw her from the back. She brings in this gift of this figurine. She goes in to sit down to a different place by the windows, forgot her phone at our table, and the host takes the figurine out of the box, showcase it, puts it back, and then the explosion happens. Yeah. So Russia, maybe not things going so well for them, maybe not going their way so much. Remember that Putin has already had a few attempts on his life as well. We talked about that here. It's got to be like a month or so now. But remember, he's pretty well hidden away and guarded. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you up to date here. If you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe down below. Click the bell icon. I cover a lot of things here that aren't covered here on your daily 9 to 5 news. Yeah. So if you want to hear about this stuff and a lot of the truth here, I just cover things that you need to know here on a daily basis. Make sure you're subscribed with the bell icon so you don't miss out on new videos here. Come on here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also thanks for liking and sharing these videos. Here's some videos you should watch next. Here's a video of Vladimir Putin telling his citizens to how to survive for nuclear survival in his own country. Pretty crazy there. And here's North Korea sending a warning to Americans. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.